guys, that's your Rage Legends. Welcome to the video. It's going to be a good one today because yesterday or the day before, I brought you the best epic team, the epic dream team, actually number 2. So 10 epic champions on one team for every hard mode dungeon. In the comments of that video, a lot of you guys requested that I do an all rare dream team. So I'm making it happen right away today. It gives me a great excuse to talk about some of my favorite rare champions in the game. And the thing that all these rares have in common, because it's going to be the same team, full auto, no AI or team setup used at all, is their versatility. They're all powerhouses individually, but you put them all together and they can help you out in every single dungeon inside the game, at least the big 4, Ice Golem, Spider, Fire Knight, and Dragon's Lair. But hey, send us some love, some positive vibes your way. Thanks for clicking on the video.
Let's get into the lineup of today's video.
That would be great.
So I really wanted to have my girl Reliquary Tender. She's one of my favorite rares out there. In my opinion, the best rare reviver in the game, Tree Shield Knot. I needed Tree Shield Knot on the team because not only does he have a revive, a double revive, eat that reliquary.
I'm not hungry.
But he also has an increased defense and a heal on a 3-turn cooldown. It's a small version of increased defense, but it's really good to have the increased defense and the heal on the same ability. And then he has a triple freaking hitter on his A1. That's going to be imperative for Fire Knight. So Tree Shield Knot absolutely had to be on the team. The best rare reviver in the game. To me, it's not even close, even though I love Reliquary and Gear Grinder and some of the other kind of more niche ones, Harrispecs as well. Next up is going to be probably the most obvious champion in the world, and it's going to be Coldheart. How could I have this video without Coldheart? She's got freaking 4 hits on her A1. She's got Poison for Fire Knight. She's got Poison for Dragon's Lair, and she's got Heartseeker for everywhere, specifically Spider as well, right? So Coldheart is the best rare in the game in my opinion, and yeah, she's going to be a huge part of this team. But of course, we cannot forget Bellower. Bellower had a huge value surge because of the Nature's Bounty. Is that the name of the blessing? We'll take a look at it in a moment here. But the blessing, the new blessing that changes the small version of debuffs to the big version of debuffs. Oh, it was made for Bellower, and yours truly, I'm a very lucky man, or I've spent a few dollars in the game. Either way, maybe both, a little bit, maybe?
No, hard pass.
No, just spent. I have a 6-star Bellower, so we're going to take full advantage of upgrading these debuffs. He's got an AoE decrease speed, an AoE block active skills, and an AoE decrease attack and decrease defense. My man has it all. AoEs for days. I have him built for a little bit of damage in today's video as well. But the damage doesn't end there. I am going all out DPS with one of the most unsung, underrated rare champions inside the entire game. It's Soulbond Bowyer. Soulbond Bowyer is so freaking good, and she's notoriously criminally slept on inside the game. She's got an AoE on her A1. She's got an extra 25% chance of critting on every ability. She's got a hard-hitting A2 ability here with ignoring 75% of defense, another hard-hitting A3, but she's 100% when booked of fully depleting the target's turn meter. Oof, that's a juicy ability. So Soulbound, Coldheart, Tree Shield, Bellower. Who's our 5th gonna be? Well, we're going shock here, right? This is version 1 of this video. I'm sure I could do another one with rares too, but we're going Apothecary, right? My man has a triple hitter on his A1. Again, it's going to be imperative for Fire Knight. This team can easily tackle Fire Knight 25, this all rare team. Not too bad. We got some heals on the A2 to help out Tree Shield Knot in terms of carrying the burden of healing this team. And then we have the increased speed. We got the turn meter fill. And arguably just as importantly, we have the aura, 21% defense in dungeons. So we're going to run him as an aura lead on all of our teams as well. So man, what a team. Bellower, Apothecary, Coldheart, Soulbond. Man, these are some of my favorite rares in the game. Do you have any of these rares? Do you use any of these rares? Which one is your favorite? Which one do you have the least experience with? I guarantee if the answer to that question is going to be Tree Shield, you will walk away with a massive appreciation for this dude after today's video.
Hey, what about us?
So let's start out with Fire Knight 25. I won't show you the wave content for all of these dungeons, but just so you can get acquainted with these champions a little bit, let's take some time here in Fire Knight 25. And as I said, the dungeon levels will be 20 outside of this. We could do 23, 24 with Dragon on this team. It just takes a while. Obviously, the higher you go, the longer it takes without a lot of poisons on the team. Cold Heart's doing a lot of heavy lifting there. We got up to stage 23 in Ice Golem, but again, it just started taking a long time with all rares. And then Spider, kind of the same thing, right? Just gonna take us, actually Spider, not the same thing. Spider, we have to do 20 because we're just gonna be leaning on Cold Heart and Soul Bond for the most part there. We don't have any burn, obviously, on the team, but if I had to add a rare burner, it would be, Selenia Nightcloak, who I want to say is a high elf void rare champion. Anyway, you're kind of seeing what we can do here. Namely, I want to focus your attention on all those debuffs. That's my man Bellower at work, right? A little bit of help from Cold Heart as well, but that's almost all Bellower. And I love that he has built-in control with the block active skills on his A1, and I love that everything my man dishes out is all just AoE. AoE, 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 A1, A2, A3. I'll come back to you guys when we get to the Fire Knight. This is taking forever. Hey guys, you know who's really annoying? Gnarlhorn. I promised this run would not have taken me 5 years.
I will fight you with my last breath.
Lest I did not have Gnarlhorn with unkillable and two reduced turn meter champions on the team. It looks like I might come back in 2 hours. You guys ever do that and be on the same mob? So I gotta take it off auto and just A1 cycle because Gnarlhorn is really annoying, or any unkillable champion for that matter is very annoying to have in wave content when you have a Cold Heart or a Soul Bond. Be right back in the Fire Knight. All right, guys, here we are against the actual Fire Knight now, 6 minutes later. About 3 or 4 of those minutes were spent just hitting Gnarlhorn endlessly. Gnarlhorn, Paragon, you know. Oh, all those cheese, all that cheese. So I love this team against Fire Knight. Like I said, even against stage 25, it's really a cinch. A, because we have enough healing on the team with Apothecary to keep up easily with the Fire Knight's damage on normal setting. But B, we have everything you could want in this team. A bunch of multi-hitters on A1s. Soulbon Boyer does not bring that, but she has turn meter. We have decreased speed on this team thanks to Bellower. You can see the big version as well thanks to the blessing there, which is really nice. We have Cold Heart with the A3 Heartseeker. We're just like totally covered. We have heal reduction with Cold Heart as well. So really covering every single base that we could possibly need here. It's just a little bit of RNG to get those Heartseekers, those big damage abilities. There it is right there, popping when that shield is down. But with so many multi-hitters on our A1s, you know, no worries there at all. And you can see this shield might just be down. It's weird to fight the Fire Knight and not just have to rely on freeze. For those of you OGs out there, right? Or those of you who are already kind of tackling hard, it feels weird to go back to the normal Fire Knight, but this is what we have to deal with when we deal with Fire Knight progression, right? Is look for the fundamentals, which we absolutely have covered on this team. Specifically, if you're struggling against the Fire Knight, consider adding a decreased speed champion to your team. It will make the run 10 times easier because, sure, the decreased speed is going to allow you to get more hits in, obviously, which is great, even when that shield is up, which is fantastic. But obviously, it's going to keep that shield down a lot longer. It gives you time to land your debuffs, gives you time to do more damage, to cycle to your bigger damage dealing abilities as well, as you can clearly see demonstrated in this run. By the way, guys, I will not forget, I'm going to show you all the builds on all these champions that we're going to be utilizing today. It's good gear, not great gear. Like, really solid, really well built. There are maybe like one or two, I snuck in one or two 9-piece, not the whole sets, right? But like one feral ring or something like that I had lying around on a couple of these champions. But otherwise, it's pretty like realistic, but, you know, verging on endgame gear on these champs. So there it is, Fire Knight, stage 25. This team made it look super, super easy. Obviously, if you have legendary and epic options that fit better than any of these champions for teams like this, sub them in. It's just going to improve your run time because 9 minutes is nothing to write home about. All right, let's go into the Spider's Den. Why not, right? Let's go Spider, like I said, stage 20. Put the team in. Full auto. Boom. It's really just waiting for, again, a lot of Heartseekers to land and stay alive in the meantime, especially when we talk about the Spider. So, good old Spider, man. Never gets old. I still like the Spider, right? Especially right now during clan versus clan. It's just like, I try not to farm Spider at all on my account until it's clan versus clan time, and I try to binge on as much silver as I possibly can.
You want to give me half your silver?
For a while, it was the event dungeon. I was doing that instead of Spider, but now I'm back to Spider, and it's clan versus clan at the time of this recording, so I am going hard on Spider, right? I also try to do like I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way, right? But I try to save up my energy, especially if I ever buy any energy packs or anything like that. If I ever get energy rewards, try to save and hoard for obviously fusions and fragment summons, but also to get my Sand Devil and my Phantom Shogun grow farming as well, so I can have that dust and all the resources piled up. So the Spider usually does this, kind of goes through one rotation where she fully heals, puts her abilities off cooldown, and then it's just a matter, like I said, of A, keeping the team alive, and then B, you know, doing the damage from there, right? Enemy max HP abilities are going to be amazing. Ironically, with this particular Spider team, and I'm going to cut to the end in a moment here, but ironically with this team, we would actually be a lot better and a lot faster if I could cheat and add not an epic, not a legendary, not a mythical, but if I could add an uncommon to this team, an Armiger, instead of, well, I guess instead of Tree Shield, probably in a team like this, or Soul Bond, perhaps, right? I'd be way better off because he has the 2-turn enemy max HP and turn meter control on his A1. Anyway, I digress. I'll come back to you guys at the end of this run in just one moment. All right, guys, there we go. Only took about 5 minutes, no big deal, but hey, we got the job done. That's all that counts, right? That's all that counts. All right, let's sell that trash gear. But I will say, I actually got like a really nice piece, and it goes without saying that like you can still get very good 6-star gear, legendary 6-star gear that ends up being a staple of your account way into the end game, even off of stage 20, even off of heck stage what, 13 is it? Yeah, stage 13 when they go to 6 stars. So it could happen. It could happen. All right, let's go to Ice Golem, guys. Be right back. All righty, here we go against Clyosis. Man, does it say his name in here? One of these days I'll learn it, I swear. It just says attacks, doesn't say his name, huh? Doesn't say his name anywhere. I'll Google it in the background while you watch this MVP rare team. No big deal.
Do I look like I care?
All right. Who else would you sub in? Would you guys argue with my rare selection here, right? There's a lot of like decent options, you know? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I originally wanted to do a rare team for every hard dungeon, a very hard task, and I couldn't do Spider. I just couldn't do it. I'm sure if I worked hard enough and put the gear in like absolute god tier mode, I could have maybe done stage 1 of the other dungeons, but man, it was very, very tough. I couldn't do it. Even with, I tried Bulwark, I tried Coffin Smasher, and I tried Selenia, Nightcloak. Couldn't get that burn. Same thing with Ice Golem. Very, very hard to land there. Need one of those legendary or epic burners like an Akoth or something like that, right? Anyway, I digress. You can see this team does pretty well, and we just got the full ignore defense hit from the Ice Golem, but we're still staying alive, and even if somebody dies, you can see that Tree Shield is built like a tank, right? So he's able to double revive on the same ability if we need it. We did need it a bit in rehearsal. I think we lost Cold Heart. You can see she's pretty low there, but Apothecary is really nice with those spot heals. And keep in mind, Apothecary's A2 can be a critical heal. There's only a handful of champions that are able to do that in the entire game, and Apothecary is one of them. And that increased defense off of his aura, it's super helpful, right? You never appreciate auras until you don't have them. Anyway, Cold Heart ends that show. At least a pretty decent time here at around 3 minutes. And like I said, we could tackle a little bit harder floors of the normal, not hard, but it did take quite a bit longer as you scaled up. Keep in mind, back in the day, there was only level 15 on dungeons when Raid launched. Then they expanded to level 20. Then they expanded to level 25. Then they expanded to hard, right? So 4 difficulty expansions, if you will, or 3 expansions, 4 total in Raid Shadow Legends history. There you go. All right, let's tackle, let's go a little bit harder. Let's go stage 23 here of Dragon. Be right back. Clysis. That's not that hard. Clysis. Ash, come on, bro. You're just setting new lows day after day after day. I'm just trying to keep getting lower and lower and more pathetic here on the channel for you guys. All right, be right back. All right, guys, finishing things off strong against the Dragon. And man, we're gonna make quick work. I said we don't have the, I guess we could use like a kale for additional poisons. But as you can see, we do have the small version of some poisons landing against the dragon as well, which does help a little bit, right? I guess War Maiden would probably be a good addition to a team like this. I just wonder where I'd put her. I guess over a Soulbond Bowyer. It'd be interesting to see if she actually speeds things up significantly or not. But either way, man, this team has, we could have just done Dragon 25 as well, because we're going to have no issues here. Again, Coldheart is going to steal the show because she's Coldheart. She's amazing. She's the best rare in the game.
I told you not to test me!
I feel for anybody who doesn't have her yet, because you will get there eventually. You'll get your hands on Coldheart, and she'll be a pretty big game changer for you. All right, I'll come back to you guys when we're tapering down to the end of the dragon's health, and I will show you the builds. You better watch out if your enemies are road ahead of full props. All right, dragon down, and to the surprise, not too bad there, some destroy gear. To the surprise of nobody, Coldheart out damages everybody. Bellower and Soulbond coming in second and third respectively, or third and second respectively, but Apothecary dishing out 870k damage. Well, you probably know now who had or how I have Apothecary built. That's right, I put Apothecary in Toxic set. You probably noticed the poisons throughout the duration of this entire video. Man, he's hitting a lot, right? And Toxic, I mean, it helps. And you saw 870,000 damage. It wasn't just, by the way, Apothecary and Toxic for the dragon. He was in the same build for every single dungeon that we had. I like thinking a little bit unorthodox, a little bit outside the box. Obviously, if you want to go safe on Apothecary, put him in speed, you know, just make him all out speed. But when you're given the flexibility, obviously we have the autonomy to build champions however the heck we want to. So I always like to try to get a little bit something extra, especially from a champion like Apothecary. I also put him in retaliation. So he has a 15% chance to counterattack when he's hit, which is great because then he has a chance of dropping the toxic poisons. Obviously those poisons don't require accuracy. Also, the retaliation is super useful in areas like the Fire Knight to get that triple hit off of the shield of the Fire Knight. So that's the build. We have him pretty fast at 260, some survivability. That's basically it. On Apothecary, we have HP on the gauntlets, we have HP on the chest piece, and we have speed on the boots. Really just get emergency heal on him. Emergency heal, we don't really have well, we do have a shield champion on the team, I guess. But I probably would not go emergency heal in this particular build for Apothecary had I noticed that earlier. I probably just would have went with Phantom Touch, right? But I'm not going to pay the 300 gems. So there we go. Those are the masteries, and very old mastery build on Apothecary. But I will link the hellhades.com Apothecary suggestions as well for you guys, because they're going to give you, I would definitely go War Master for PvE content instead of going down and picking up Unshakable. Maybe even I'd forego the support tree and just go defense and with War Master. But that is the Apothecary build. I really like going a Toxic, a little bit outside the box there. On Coldheart, kept it super simple again. Triple perception. You can build her for more damage, obviously, in Cruel or Savage or something like that. Get a lot more damage out of the A2 and the A1 specifically. The A3 is going to be based on enemy max HP again before it scales off of her attack. So that's going to be obviously the factor that dictates how much damage she does there. However, we still have her built with 67 crit rate and 207 crit damage. She does have on this ability an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Now that does not pertain to her A1 and her A2, so if I was to go back on this build, even though she did just fine in this video, I would definitely want to probably crit cap her anyway. Well, we're here now. What do we have on her? We have resist on the chest with some HP. We have speed on the boots. We have crit damage on the gauntlets. Man, oh man, I really botched this one, guys. Either way, I would prefer to crit cap Coldheart. Some survivability is not a bad thing, so it looks like I have flat stat defense, flat stat HP instead of crit damage. damage and more HP. And, you know, I got by with the accuracy just because of the triple perception set, but 261, you got to be careful with those numbers. We generally want like 10 to 12 points of accuracy per dungeon stage. I do have flawless execution as a tier 6 mastery on her, which I don't mind. Yeah, I think, hey, it got the job done. In her numbers, you could not argue with that. We have Phantom Touch as an obvious blessing on our Cold Heart. Let's do Bellower next. Bellower, I went with Lifesteal, Cruel in Pinpoint. Lifesteal because I built him for damage. So I'm going to build him for damage. He has an AoE attack on every ability. We'll get some of that life, well, back vis-a-vis Lifesteal. If you had Bloodthirst, I would use that as well. I did want a little bit of Cruel gear, a little bit of teensy-weensy ignore defense, as well as some extra attack. I went with 1 pinpoint on my ring because I had it as well. I want attack on the ring, crit damage on the amulet, accuracy on the banner. We went speed on the boots, defense percentage on the chest. I want survivability first and foremost. If they're dead, they're no good to me. Obviously, if I could afford to do so, I'd put attack percentage on the chest instead. For masteries on Bellower, guys, most importantly, we went with War Master as a tier 6, just to kind of parlay the lifesteal with more survivability and heals. We went Life Drinker as well. We also picked up Sniper and Master Hexer. Those are going to be some of the most important masteries for Bellower because my man has a 15 or 20, 30% chance to place a block active skills on the A1. He's got a 75 on the decreased speed, and then he's got 100 or 75 booked up to 100 on the A3. So obviously Sniper will be very good. Moreover, extending with Master Hexter will be amazing. Nature's Bounty, I was right. We have a 60% chance to place the big version of the debuff instead on Bellower. Ooh. There's really nigh a champion in the game that benefits as strongly from Nature's Bounty as good old Bellower does. Soul Bomb Bowyer, we kept her how I already had her built. I didn't change anything on her. Just a good old-fashioned stun set with Fearsome Presence. It's good for wave content to neutralize the enemies by, well, stunning them. She has an AoE on her A1, so a perfect candidate for that stun set. She does not need accuracy on the stun set. However, we still want accuracy on her because of the deplete the target's turn meter on the A3 ability. That's all she has though for the need for accuracy, but we do have accuracy on the banner. I assume we do. We have crit damage on the amulet. We have some attack on the ring. We have crit damage on the gauntlets. We have attack with some accuracy on the chest. And then we have speed on the boots, as well as obviously the stun set with a 23% chance to land that stun because of the Fearsome Presence mastery. And then Tree Shield is our bolster champion. You guys know me. I love to put a bolster on at least all my teams if I'm in progression mode, right?
Black Tuck, Big T-shirt, Billy.
So we have 30% ally HP shield, heals himself every turn. Like I mentioned against Ice Golem, he has a lot of survivability. We want him to stay alive so we can revive everybody else for us. We have the perception set and a feral piece, a feral ring on him. Why all the accuracy? Well, ideally, it'd be nice to have him land the decreased attack against bosses. It's each hit has an independent 35% chance, so it's actually pretty dependable considering it's a triple hitter on that A1. Now, Bellower also brings a decreased attack, but he's on a 4-turn cooldown, so I liked having a double up of decreased attack, especially for the harder levels, or the higher levels, excuse me, of both Ice Golem and Fire Knight, right? We have him built with Indomitable Spirit as a blessing, as a chance of blocking the CC debuffs. Not going to be entirely important for the content that we were facing today, but I didn't change the blessing that I did have on him. How do we have him built otherwise here, guys? Just with as much HP as we possibly could, right? So 98k HP, 210 speed, nothing else really to write home about there. So obviously we have HP percentage on the gauntlets, HP percentage on the chest, and HP percentage even on the boots. A little bit of an endgame build on Tree Shield compared to the other 4 champions on the team. Normally, most players, especially if you're going to use a team of a bunch of rares, are going to be either in the secret room where you can use a build like this, or you're going to want to just run speed on the boots and take that HP sacrifice, because we really try to aim for him at a 200 speed kind of as a minimum personally. So there we go. Those are the masteries on Tree Shield. That's my all rare team, guys. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.